My name is Cathy Puett Miller. I'm known as the Literacy Ambassador, and that is what I'm here to talk to you about today, because literacy is so important, not only for us having to deal with all this information-rich internet and news and all those things as adults, but also for children, because the children today will have a need for a stronger literacy than what we have, a more complex literacy. And I'm here today in Huntsville, Alabama, where I live, at the Premier Collaborations campus for one of the preschools here in town. And I'm very excited to be able to talk to you about what we're doing here. In 1997, my husband gave me a wonderful gift. He said to me, "You can do whatever you like." Financially, we had gotten not to the point where we eventually wanted to be, but at a more comfortable place. So I said, how am I going to marry what I absolutely am passionate about with all this experience I've had for the last 20 years? And that's where I came up with working with my very first project, working with an elementary school to develop a volunteer-based tutoring program for at-risk readers. I went to the principal, I said, this is what I want to do. She said, yes, there's a gap here. We need to help those kids that maybe aren't the lowest kids, but aren't the highest kids either. Just need a little extra support. And that actually became the framework for my first product, which is Reading is for Everyone. It's a framework for establishing volunteer-based tutoring programs. So at that point I was going, okay, so what do I do when I grow up? You know, I think everybody who changes careers goes through that thought process. My company is called TLA, and we are very needs-driven. And that's probably why I like to visit with so many different folks. You know, I like to work with different groups. It adds a lot of livelihood to what I'm doing. It also meets the need on a broad spectrum, and that's probably one of the messages that the Literacy Ambassador always wants to send to anybody that she's talking to. And that is that literacy is really a tool for life. In 1997, I started my consulting firm, and it's grown from there. I'm a national consultant for educationworld.com, where I can reach out to teachers, mostly there through their professional development area. I'm on an Inspiring Teachers column for inspiringteachers.com, and I travel all over the country and work with both schools and with families. That's one of the rare things about the Literacy Ambassador, is that I work with different groups. I also do a lot of work with nonprofits, helping them develop programs for reading. And so what's happened in my career is that that Literacy Ambassador tag is just so applicable, because I will talk to anybody about literacy and about getting children excited about reading and writing. I also have wonderful mentors. And that's very important to people that are either expanding their business from where they were or are just starting out. Because you've got to have people both in your camp. My husband is my best cheerleader. He believes in me sometimes more than I. But also professional people that are experts in the area that you're moving into. It's very much about that personal interaction and just taking that risk, because the worst they're going to say is no. And then you can just go on and find somebody else. But I have just found, especially in the world of education and in the world of parent involvement, people are very open to talking with you. And then there's that little bit of collaboration again. For instance, Tim and a woman from University of Michigan and I are going to try to find a subject we want to study in a research study together. And that all came out of that beginning relationship. The only other thing I would say is, in the midst of the whirlwind of life, don't let go of your family. That is so easy. I think especially for women, because we are nurturers and we want to nurture everybody we do business with often, or we at least know that we have to put a lot of energy. If we're one of those alpha, you know, people, then we want to put a lot of energy, and sometimes that doesn't leave a lot of energy. But my family has been such a good teacher for me in that you have to sometimes say no, because you need to carve out a little of that time, because you're going to burn yourself out otherwise if you don't have any feeding going on. I always say that my son Charlie, who's 19 now, off at college, was one of my best teachers, because I would go to him in the middle of working on research or whatever, and I would ask him questions about what was going on with him at school and with him with reading, and he would tell me, and it would give us that little bit of connection time, and then I had all those great resources to take back with me. So that's the other thing that I would really encourage people to do, is just, you have to be a planner. make a schedule, an appointment with your family so that that doesn't get squeezed out. All parents really, whether they had somebody that read with them when they were little or whether they didn't have that experience, whether they had a bad experience in school and they just get that knot in their gut when they go into a school building, even if they did that, don't let that keep you from enjoying time with your child, because I always tell parents when I'm talking to them in workshops, it's bigger than the book. It's about relationship building and conversation, oral language, that's the educator term for it, and reading with your children are relationship building. They're time spent where you can talk with them, find out what's going on with them, understand what they think about issues and ideas, and that will just carry on with you. Here's what I would wish for everybody watching this. We have an incredible opportunity to either turn kids on to reading or to turn them off to reading. And that's a tool that's going to go with that child long after we're dust. So I would say find time to read with children about something they're passionate about an application. If they're a soccer player, read with them about how to play better soccer. Because the teachers are doing a great job of being very scientific in how and we've learned a lot about brains and how they work and that whole process. But I would say to families, to community people, pull together, find other people in your community that are interested in literacy, and particularly children's literacy, because that's our future, and see what you can do, because it really is one child at a time. I would love to invite people to come and visit TLA's website, because you'll find some free resources on there for parents, teachers, community people, everybody, because I am the literacy ambassador. And you'll also find some links. I'm doing 3 blogs now, one for preschool parents, one for preschool teachers, one for teachers that teach K through 12. And I'm thinking, if I have time, of starting one that is a blog for librarians, because that's really my heart. And I do work with librarians from time to time. So they'll find all those resources on it, and the URL is simply www.readingisforeveryone.org. All spelled out, no spacing, no nothing. Readingisforeveryone.org.